Welcome. In today's Explainer, we're diving into a really powerful teaching from Bill Vincent of Revival Waves of Glory Ministries. And it's all about a transformative journey he calls being refined by fire. But what's so fascinating is where it all begins. As you're about to see, it starts with a vision that connects spiritual growth to one of the most famous scientific equations in history.
So right off the bat, here's the puzzle at the heart of it all. What in the world could Albert Einstein's equation, E=mc², possibly have to do with faith? I mean, those two things feel like they're from completely different universes. But according to Bill Vincent, it has everything to do with it. This exact formula appeared to him in a vision, and it sparked a huge spiritual revelation that completely reframes how we can look at personal growth.
And that's what makes this so wild, right? The starting point isn't a familiar scripture or a traditional symbol. Nope, it's a formula straight out of a physics textbook. This vision, well, it becomes the key that unlocks a much deeper message. It suggests that the principles of immense energy and transformation we see in science have a direct parallel in the spiritual world. It's a hook that kind of forces you to look at faith through a totally different lens.
So, this vision, it leads to the first big idea in this teaching, what he calls a call to graduate. The message here is that, for a lot of believers, it's time to move past just being a student of faith, It's a call to level up, to reach a new stage of spiritual maturity, to get out of the classroom, so to speak, and start applying what you know in a much more real and powerful way.
Now, let's be clear, this doesn't mean you ever stop learning. Not at all. The whole graduation idea isn't about reaching some finish line. It's about moving into a new phase. Think of it like this. It's the difference between studying engineering in a lecture hall and actually being out there, on site, building the bridge. It's a call to take your faith off the page and make it the actual framework for your day-to-day, moment-by-moment life. Okay, so let's get back to that mysterious equation. If we're being called to graduate, what are we graduating into? What's the advanced subject we're supposed to master? Well, in this teaching, E=mc² is a symbol for something absolutely massive, but also deeply personal. The unfathomable mind of Christ. That is the divine equation we're meant to unlock. In this mind of Christ, it's not about just being smarter or more religious. It's described as a complete reboot of your mental operating system. The whole goal is to tap into new levels of divine wisdom and to keep your focus on spiritual truths instead of constantly getting bogged down and distracted by all the daily, earthly stuff. It's really about changing your default perspective from the temporary to the eternal. And this is a really key distinction to make. This isn't some mindset you just put on for an hour on Sunday and then take off Monday morning. It's not something reserved for a handful of super spiritual people, and it is definitely not some magic trick to avoid life's problems. No, it's a constant state of being. It's a mind that's set on things above, and that's what gives you the spiritual insight to navigate all of life's messes with real wisdom and clarity.
Now, before we dive into how this whole process is supposed to work, it's probably helpful to know where these ideas are coming from. This entire framework is from the teachings of Bill Vincent. He's the founder of Revival Waves of Glory Ministries, and he's an author of over 125 books that really zero in on these themes of personal transformation and divine encounters.
So for anyone who finds this is really clicking with them and wants to go a lot deeper, you can find a ton of resources. Books, other teachings, you name it, by visiting his ministry's website. It's revivalwavesofgloryministries.com.
Okay, so if the goal is getting this mind of Christ, how in the world do you actually get there? This brings us to the absolute heart of the message, the practical and, let's be honest, often surprising way God is said to bring about this transformation. And it's probably not what you'd expect. And here's where it gets incredibly real. The teaching argues that God doesn't just use those quiet mountaintop moments to shape us. Oh no, He uses the most mundane, everyday frustrations, the little things that drive us absolutely up the wall, as the primary tools for our spiritual purification.
Just think about this list for a second. You know the feeling, right? That person driving 20 in a 40 when you're already late? The checkout line that just stops? The fast food order that is completely wrong after you've already driven 5 miles away? Well, according to this teaching, these aren't just random annoying moments. They are divinely set up opportunities, designed specifically to bring our inner junk, our impatience, our anger, our pride, right up to the surface.
And here's the big mindset shift, the one that can be tough to swallow. The teaching is very direct about this. Your reaction is the whole point. The frustration that boils up when someone cuts you off in traffic. That feeling reveals what needs to be refined, not in them, but in you. The other person is just the catalyst. The real work is always internal.
So this whole process of purification is described using three really powerful metaphors. First, there's fire, which is that intense heat that just burns away all the worthless stuff in our character. Then there's boiling, where a steady heat makes all those impurities rise to the top so they can be identified and skimmed off. And then there's breaking, the idea that sometimes, like a flawed piece of pottery, we have to be broken down before we can be remade into something truly beautiful and strong.
So why? Why go through all this? What's the ultimate point of being put through these daily trials in this intense, sometimes pretty painful refining process? What's the actual endgame of facing these frustrations day in and day out? And here we get to the central paradox of the whole teaching. The price of gaining this divine mindset is letting go of your own. It means you have to surrender your reactive, impatient, easily frustrated earthly mindset to make room for something new. The whole process is designed to help you lose your mind, that ego-driven, easily offended mind, so that you can receive His.
So this is maybe the most important takeaway. It's a complete reframing of our challenges. That slow driver isn't a punishment. That internet outage isn't some cosmic joke to ruin your day. They are the curriculum. They are the refining fire. They are the process itself.
And the payoff for going through all of this, it's peace. But not the absence of problems. It's a deep internal stability that isn't shaken by them. It's not that you'll never feel a flash of annoyance again, but when your mind is truly fixed on things above, those daily frustrations just don't have the power to ruin your day or steal your joy anymore. They lose their control over you.
So let's just end with this one final challenging thought. What if this whole perspective changes everything about how we see our daily lives? It suggests that the very thing that frustrates you the most, that person, that recurring situation, that one thing that always gets under your skin, what if that isn't your biggest problem? What if it's actually your greatest invitation to transform? And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into this powerful message. If this has sparked something in you and you want to explore more of Bill Vincent's teachings on being refined by fire, the best place to start is his ministry's website. Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive podcast.